everyone, and welcome to our first ever live stream event. Today we have teams from both Brick+Work and Irvine Associates joining us here today for a little development chat. From the Irvine and Brick+Work team, we have Alex Irvine, who is president of the Irvine Associates team and also co-founder of Brick+Work. Alex is a leading land use professional, having entitled thousands of housing units and millions of square footage of commercial space across Greater LA. Also from both teams, we have Tucker Franz, who's here with us today. At Irvine, Tucker conducts in-depth initial due diligence analysis, as well as does minor entitlement processing as an assistant project manager. Additionally, at Brick+Work, Tucker is our senior analyst, leading all of our research and analysis for our reports, as well as being our in-house tech guru. Tanner Blackman is also here, and Tanner is a senior project manager at Irvine. He also serves as the president of ArtShare, which is a nonprofit arts organization within LA. Tanner is also a frequent adjunct instructor at USC Price School for Public Policy and a former City of LA planner. Tim Warren is another senior project manager from Irvine Associates. Tim leads the large multi-family scale entitlement projects and is a former Camarillo city planner. In his spare time, Tim is also a very talented musician, having mastered multiple instruments. And last but not least, we have Jordan Baruchim, who is Associate Project Manager at Irvine. Jordan has also spent 7 years as a planning deputy at Council District 10 within LA, where he coordinated the approval of tens of thousands of housing units and guided new policy for the city of LA. Moving on to the Brick+Work team, we have John Jung, who is co-founder of Brick+Work, but also founder of True Path Real Estate and Lending, with over 10 years of experience within the field. John also served in the U.S. Army in the 82nd Airborne Division as a paratrooper deployed in Kosovo and Sinai Peninsula. David Phelps is our newest addition to the Brick+Work team. David is our business development executive with a focus on scaling, seed raise, and expansion. David was previously the president and CEO of Sherman Oaks Chamber of Commerce, and before that, the director of external relations for the Association of Independent Commercial Producers, which is a national trade association representing the entertainment industry. Again, thank you guys all for coming, and thank you guys all for watching. Let's get into some topics. I thought we could start for like recent density bonus law changes. I don't know, Tim, maybe you want to start us off with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it changes every day. I don't know if we want to talk about all the ones that are currently in effect, like AB 1763.
So Tim, why don't we talk about what state density bonuses initially, and then what the revamps have been most recently?
Go global and then kind of zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, state density bonus is essentially giving you a bonus in density, an increase in density for providing affordable units within your project. And if you meet certain percentages, then typically the standard with state density bonus is that you can get up to a 35% increase in density for providing certain percentages of affordable housing. And then you also get other incentives on top of that for increasing the height of the building, the floor area of the building, reduction in setbacks, landscaping, things like that make the project more feasible. And this year in particular, there's been some changes or amendments to state density bonus that are meant to increase the amount of affordable housing, and specifically affordable housing near transit, such as AB 1763, which is specifically targeting 100% affordable housing projects and actually allows them to get an unlimited increase in density. And they don't have to provide any parking, for example, if they're within a half mile of transit. And most recently now, the state has passed AB 2345, which adds further. What's that?
It's an easy to remember number.
I know, yeah, very sequential. But that piece of legislation is currently, I guess, very much discussed as to benefit would be, because it does allow for certain advantageous interpretations, such as, to be within a half mile of transit, now you can measure from the parking lot as opposed to the actual entrance to the station, things like that. But there's also this question of if it would even apply to the city of LA, because there's a provision in there that essentially if the jurisdiction already has something in place to increase density over 35%, and they don't even have to follow it. So that's kind of the current discussion of how this is actually going to be applied within the city.
I guess I'd maybe want to piggyback on that a little bit, Tim, to I forget all of the specific numbers of them, but there's also then some kind of amazing provisions for projects that are like 100% affordable housing, which can allow, essentially like unlimited density near these transit lines.
Yeah.
And as a firm in Irvine and Associates, we do a lot of kind of market rate development entitlements for clients, but we have a number of, non-profit kind of affordable housing developer clients who have been able to utilize these tools too, which have been awesomely wild when you kind of do the math and you realize that you're asking for a 600% density bonus increase. And
the city says, okay.
Literally, and the city has to approve it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of amazing for the density hawks out there. Yeah.
And we did that, Alex and I did that a few times when this law came out, because we've used it several times now, like you were saying, Tanner, for a couple of our affordable housing developer clients, and used it successfully and had density increases that were 200, 300, 400, 500%. And, it took Alex and I a few times of talking to city staff, like, hey, this is a 485% density increase.
We can totally do this.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Like, you sure? So, yeah, I mean, that 1763 is the one that gives you the unlimited density bonus. The only trade-off there being that you're limited to 4 incentives. Whereas if you did the standard off-menu process through the city, you could basically ask for, any number of incentives that you could justify.
So you can't use them in conjunction with each other. You can't request through AB 1763, you can request unlimited density if you're within a half-mile of transit, and then request off-menu incentives in conjunction with that.
You can do off-menu incentives, but you're limited to 4 if you take advantage of the unlimited density increase.
Okay, but also we should know that the unlimited density also comes with a 33-foot, 3-story height increase.
Boom.
Yeah, and no parking requirement.
There's not an incentive, right? It's you just get it automatically.
It's just a given. Yeah, you're automatically given 33 feet in height, 4 in, and no parking requirement if you're within a half-mile of transit.
And so, like, since the audience for this is very sort of inside baseball, you know what I mean? I think we're not going out on a limb to then talk about these sort of weedsy details. Like, specifically, I think one kind of takeaway that's interesting for people who sort of like study this or look at, like, are we meeting kind of housing goals in the city, and how are we getting there? Like, ever since the transit-oriented communities program was adopted in LA, I want to say 2016, but don't quote me, measure JJJ, that had been like a tool that was really popular, that allowed, up to an 80% density increase, depending on how close you are to transit and whatnot. And had some built-in incentives like height and density and parking calculations, and allowed one to ask for extra incentives. That that was immensely popular kind of when it was first adopted, the first few years. And then in the last year or so, I've seen like a lot of projects even that maybe started out as a TOC pathway switch over to density bonus as they're being entitled, because it's like these state laws are so beneficial to the project. So it's been kind of interesting to see how that happened on the ground. And I mean, I think for like, a lot of our target or audience is sort of like obviously the development community and the development side, but like for planners and folks who wish they had better tools for like sort of inclusionary zoning or things like that, it's been really interesting to see that this sort of like, as long as you're near transit, you know what I mean? It's almost like the percentage of projects that are inclusionary in LA are wide. I mean, it's like most of them. So we created thousands of affordable housing units through these in LA.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, that we've been seeing more density bonus. And I almost feel like with TOC, it's kind of, for those who don't know, TOC is broken up into 4 tiers, with 4 being the most beneficial. So I feel like, a lot of people come, and if it's not a tier 4, it's like, okay, let's go density bonus then.
So Tim, has there been any effect in terms of the conversation on density in a post-COVID world? Are developers being encouraged to look at developments that are more spaced out, or it sounds like the trend toward density continues?
Yeah, I think the trend towards density continues, and it's you know, it's interesting. I mean, the planning for the future, you know, we're hoping and planning that this won't be the norm forever. So, you know, and with a lot of these projects, it's going to take, you know, a year or two to get them built. So I think for right now, the hope is that we'll keep moving forward with these density increases, because that's really what the city needed for so long. But yeah, I haven't personally seen too much attention given to, you know, COVID friendly developments.